when you
growth.
look back at, you've worked on so many different campaigns,
Yeah.
so many.
Uh,
But when you look back, which one was like the most challenging for you? Because I was saying before we started that
yes.
what you do also involves a lot of heartbreak. Yay!
The
Yay!
industry is very much about heartbreak.
Yes, exactly.
The industry is very much about heartbreak. So when you say challenging, you mean put in a lot and didn't get out?
That,
Hey,
or one you almost didn't think you could pull off and you did.
I can tell you this for a fact. There were so many of these moments. And the advertising industry is full of this. Coming close, almost didn't think would get in. I mean, I leave in 2016. I joined an agency called Metropolitan Republic,
Okay.
and I leave that in 2018 when I go to Kenya. But but then in there, so 2016 is really difficult because we're doing some really monumental work for one of our clients who was MTN at the time, and we're doing some really game changing stuff, and that's difficult for me because I've never worked on a brand this size, this scale, this ambitious. And I remember that time was pivotal for me because for 2 years I wore the same clothes every day. Well, wait, that's not how it sounds, but so
Okay.
for 2 years I wore a black shirt and blue jeans every day.
So you made sure you just had lots of black
Yes,
shirts
so
and
I
blue
had
jeans, so you never had to think about
I
that?
had 10 black shirts, I had 6 pairs of jeans, and that's what I wore every day.
Okay.
And that's, and I think when I got the offer for the job, I made that decision. I said I'm going to do this because I never want to worry about what I'm going to wear. So I just wake up, shower, in and go. And at that time, I mean, you're able to get from bed to border in like 8 minutes. Yes, like shower, everything. 8 minutes, you're on the border, you're going to work. And that's quite interesting because I mean, I haven't, I was going to say I haven't had, up to that point I hadn't worked that hard in my life, and I'd had some really difficult years, but those were, but we then deliver some good work. We do some interesting things, and I think somewhere in there, in those years is where we came really close, because between 2017 and 2018, so we have an 18-month stretch where we don't lose a single pitch as a business, where every room we walk into we win. It was quite, and this is why I had to leave also for me, because it's not that it was easy. It was I was saying there's a lie here. There's a lie about this.
You didn't trust it?
Yeah, it can't be.
Were you worried that
Because we're
the,
not
the,
that
the
good.
crash was
Well,
coming?
yes, because it's always coming. It's always coming. And it can't be. I mean, you must not believe the marketing. It's either there's something wrong with you, or you have an invisible hand helping you, but you can't just.
Can it be that?
At times we would walk into rooms and you have, your presentation are not finished, and the client sees it and say, all right, we like how you think. Let's do this. And it was interesting. And so, defining story. In 2014, we get a pitch brief on a Friday
Okay.
to fly into Burundi on a Sunday, that Sunday, to present a telecom pitch.
Okay.
We have no money because the agency has no money. We don't have tickets. But most of all, we don't have the answer to the pitch. So we get the pitch brief on Friday. We work through the night, Friday into Saturday. We work through the day into Saturday. We fly out on Sunday morning. Our pitch time is 5 p.m. So we fly into Burundi early and work throughout the full day. We haven't slept for 3 days. And we're going up. So they invited us as a wild card in order to, so procurement people, they like to put in a filler to ensure that they get the right number of agency responses. And yeah, so we walk in and we steal this business from guys who've been working for 3 months. It was And when you ask me about moments, there are moments like that. And that's the account that changed the business, because it was a telecom account. We're getting to launch a telecom across 3 countries. It was big, it was sizable, but it was also an establishment of dominance. And because advertising is very testosterone driven,
Yes, yes.
yeah, it said something. It made a statement, and so I think when you ask me, there are times when I didn't think would come through. That's
That
one of
would
them.
be one of them.
That's one of them. I think that's a time when I wasn't sure, but and which then brings me now to this idea of the Bismod. I think that and it sort of guided me but it's essentially about, if you're the hardest worker in the room, it doesn't matter what the outcome of the room is. That's what the beast mode mentality is. If you go out there and you lay it on the field, leave it all there. There is nothing more I could have done.
That's what it is.
That's what it is.
Okay.
That's what the beast mode is.
And it's worked for you.
It's brought me very far. It's brought me very far. It's taken me places. I mean, we ended up we were running a telecom and doing a presidential campaign at the same time, and just it's brought me to exciting places and put me in some interesting rooms.
Okay.
I think, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now you still have a passion for writing. I know even now you write.
Now I write in 180 character tweets.
Well, yes, but every now and then I see an article somewhere. I'm like, he's still finding a way to write.
Yeah.
But then MTV Men.
Oh.
So you see the background of journalism somehow found its way back to you.
No. So
How did you even?
They were looking for a fuckboy.
Oh.
They were looking for, when they conceptualized the show, they wanted to take men from 3-4 different walks of life. But they were looking for people who were articulate, and also unafraid to say what they thought. And that's how I ended up there. So I was this young guy who was living the high life, the fast life. I think that's the right word. The fast life, just hitting on chicks and making some money and looking nice. And yeah, so they invited me onto MTV Men, and we sat on that for I think we did it 3 years at first, and then they seasoned it for 2 in 2015. So 3 years, 2015 season. It came back in 2017 until last year when I finally left the show.
When you left the show.
Yeah, so it was a good time. It was a good time.
It was, because you had a lot of uncomfortable conversations. People like to say men don't talk. People like to say men don't gossip. I know that's not true. But it was interesting because, especially to talk about some very, everyday issues that men normally wouldn't address. I think that was a space where that kind of changed. That, at least here in Uganda.
Why do you say that? Do you think that as a society we don't allow men to say things?
Yes. Or maybe we didn't. Because most people would say if you have a group of men sitting together, they're talking about politics.
Or sports.
Or sports. But not about relationships, not about personal hygiene, not about...
Well, so men can't talk about personal hygiene.
No, they can't.
Well, because most times
but we didn't see it.
They can. I'm just trying to frame how these aren't my words. These are words that came from one of our viewers. You're right.
I didn't have a cough.
One of our viewers once said that the purpose of MTV Men was to bring back certain conversations into people's living rooms. And so what ended up happening was you'd have wives who'd bring their husbands and say, because the purpose, the essence of the show was to give women a perspective into men's minds.
Yeah, how men think.
How men think. But do that in an unfiltered way, without the gloss, without the... And in doing that, I think that we then sort of uncovered a whole different secret coven and stash of conversations. And it worked quite well because then you would end up, so you'd get people writing in and saying, listen, can you guys talk about this? And we found that the issues that were plaguing people were some very, very difficult. I mean, when you talk about abuse and you but you talk about health issues and this whole veil around men that's killing them, this inability to talk. So this is how we knew that the show was necessary, because these people weren't talking, but they were dying of prostate cancer. People were having erectile dysfunction. They had all these things, and there was just no way. And if they had them, then the wives were suffering them, but there was no, how do I get help? Who do I talk to? Where do you find rehab people? Like those things.
Yes.
Errant children, errant spouses. Like it became very much about feeding back into what people and the community was saying. The guys were saying, this is what's hurting. Can you please address this? And a lot of times it became that. And I think it became a central, pivotal sort of cornerstone for some of the conversations and expressions that we see today, because it shaped I think how a lot of people express and approach conversations. That it's okay for a guy to sit down with his friends or to be in a WhatsApp group and say, guys, I need help with this. Where do I get help? Who do I talk to?
Yeah.
So I think that was good. It was notorious because when I started, I think yes, it was. And
because
when I
a
started,
lot of times very unpopular opinions were shared. But why I liked it is because, as you said, men weren't having those conversations. And the weirdest thing, it would be like women's magazines telling you what men like, what men want,
articles
what
by
men,
women.
Yeah, and it's like, no, you actually have to listen to men,
No,
even when it's not something that you like to hear.
So again, so now that we've been doing this story, you can see now the rebellious streak. Can you see the thread, the golden thread now, the rebellious streak? That's great. So so for me, it was always about speaking truth to culture and challenging norms.
Yeah.
Because we kept saying for a long time, guys, we need to end FGM. And then the research that was done, the research then finds out that yes, men perpetrate it, but the defenders of these practices are mothers and aunties. They are the ones
women.
who are, and I think it became, when people say unpopular, it means uncomfortable to hear. And that's a place that I've come to enjoy being in. I've settled in there, found a nice niche, and we're going to say some uncomfortable things from time to time.
Yeah.
I mean, there are certain conversations that are hard to have, but they must be had. They're cultures that we must kill, not stop. We must kill them. We must end them.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about sacrificing twins, infanticide. But I mean there's things that we must just end. In this year 2020, you can't be out here espousing ideas that were great 50 years ago, because times have changed, people's aspirations have changed. So if you go back into that story we're talking about, so me moving to follow my wife, that's a conversation that would have been unheard of.
Yeah.
Whereas, and I thought about this, if it had been me who had been moved, like the expectation
would have been expected.
Automatically she must quit her job, we must all go to follow the husband. But also I find great relief in that space, because cultures, while cultures are true and reflective of societies, cultures also are stagnant, because cultures are a set of repeated behavior and thoughts and belief systems, and every culture needs a slight counter. It must constantly fight a countercultural element for it to remain relevant, for it to keep saying, okay, but why do we do what we do? The countercultural elements don't always win, but they form the balance of the culture to stop it from becoming oppressive. So for 1,000, 100,000 years, men have been in charge of the world. And for the first time, we're seeing a world where women are starting to get in charge. They're starting to take shape. And I've told my friends, I've said to them, guys, it doesn't matter who's in charge. We've never seen women in charge, so we don't know if they're tyrants. But the truth is, a woman with power is no different from a man with power, because the power shapes it's gender neutral. So a dictator who's a woman and a dictator who's a man are still dictators because they're people with power. And so people say, yeah, but women make great leaders. I say, yeah, but they also get caught in corruption, scandals, and they still,
They'll also make the mistakes
make
too.
mistakes that men make. And so maybe what we're looking for is a finer balance point, and
balance,
a
yes.
balance, a better balance, because also
And representation for women too, really.
I think so, but I think instead what we've gotten is a slightly dangerous version of this thing, and what happens is when people are in their 20s, they're told, fight for this thing. This is the thing. This is the movement that we're defending, and then they enjoy that. They enjoy the freedom, the liberty, but there's a price to those things because those things aren't free. So you shun society's expectations and you chase all these important goals to yourself. But then again and again, we're finding that people on the door of 40 are discovering that motherhood and family was important to them in the first place. No one forced them. But once they do the self-examination, they find that those things were important and they should have paid attention to them.
It's still a very, very important space.
And I think that the ability to self-examine and say, yes, this is the expectation and this is where the movement is seated. But what I want, it's important for people to be able to say, I want to be able to have the choice to have a family or not.
Yes.
And
if
not
you
regret it.
choose
Yes.
to stay home, then that's
fine.
fine.
If I want to be a stay-at-home mom, because I think that this is the way. And I always say to my friends that food is a love language. That if you ever are checking your husband's phone, don't check for "I love you." Check for people who are texting him, "Have you eaten?" That's how you know. That's how you know, because people are trying to feed him. People are trying to feed your husband. Those are the real agents of the devil.
Wow.
Agent of Satan. Leave us. I'm telling you. And because men are foolish. Like, guys are stupid. He'll go to Nalumansi's and eat supper and then come home and eat supper. So you don't realize, but in 3 months he puts on so much weight. And you're watching him and you're like, what is going on? Is it stress? Is it the beer? You see he's not increasing the beer. But it's because he's not strong enough to tell Nalmansi, I can't eat here. And he's not strong enough to tell you, I can't eat here. Or I already ate. And yeah, so I was going back to where I was coming from, saying, so yeah, people have to have the option to choose, to choose what they want for themselves, and you can't do that if you don't have the opportunity to critically examine the cultures and where we come from and being able to challenge those things. And so I know, for example, my family didn't think that journalism was a good job because journalists weren't paid very well. But coming out of that degree, then,
all these other things.
This world has opened up for me.
Yeah.
And so being able to say, okay, so this is where it is, but I can take it somewhere else. And
you can't have a blanket solution for everybody.
Yes, I agree.
Now, you mentioned that when they were doing the character assignments for the show, they were looking for a young man living in the fast lane, ladies' man. You were a ladies' man back in the day.
Crystal, you have to be careful. People will believe these things that you say.
But your wife, how did you meet? When did you meet?
Like all the important things in my life, it all comes from advertising. Advertising gave me everything.
So you met her through advertising?
Yeah. We showed up one day to a job, my first day, her first day. We showed up there.
So you worked together first?
We worked together for a month.
Okay.
Then in that month we started dating and couldn't work together. So she then moved up.
Okay.
And moved away and got another job. And yeah, so we were together for 2 years at the time. And then we got married 2 years later in 20, Jesus, it was like a lifetime ago, 2014.
That's just what, 6 years?
Yeah, no, but it feels like, it's like dog years. It's like 45 years. No, it feels like long.
Man.
No, it was a good thing.
Okay.
It's just, I always tell my friends that, my single friends, I always tell them, you should get married. You should all get married so we can all suffer together. Don't let some of us suffer here. You guys are out there enjoying the things. Because the guys inside want to be outside. The guys outside, they want to be inside. So that's...
the grass is always greener.
Always greener. But no, that's why I met her.
I've had this conversation with different men. When you decided to get married, met your wife, was it more about where you were in terms of your frame of mind or your partner?
I think
or was it something extra special about her that got you to be ready to take that path?
It was quite interesting because we'd known each other for 2 years. We'd had some really dope conversations. It was good, but then, I think it was sometime in 2012. We take a road trip. We drive down 8,000 kilometers, go down to Mozambique with some friends. So we jump into a car and we drive. We drive some 4,000 kilometers down. Go through Kenya, drive through Tanzania. It was 2 weeks. 2 weeks of driving. We drive through Kenya, go down through Tanzania, go down through Malawi. And Malawi is a long country, you people. like if you drive like this, it's like 4 hours. But if you go like this, it's like 3 days. Shucks. We drive all the way to Blantyre. And so what we'd agreed is we'd go as far as we had money to bring us back. Fuel money to bring us back.
Okay.
And so we drive down and she's with me on this trip and we talk about, what the future is and what that looks like, and she says some important things. She says, listen, there are certain things I want to get out of the way. And we have a conversation. So it's a really interesting point because we're seated on the shores of Lake Malawi, and it's a beautiful lake. And the stars are out, and we're seated, and we have this conversation. She says, I want to do this thing. I want to do the settle down thing. I want to see if I can do this life thing. So just think about it. Tell me. That was end of 2012, start of 2013, and we got married in 2014. It took us a year to get around, but we did that. And I've found that across the years that she's been she's a very big balance to my rebellious streak. So where I am counterculture, she's very much the culture. What do we want? So not what's the outcome, what will people think? Because I'm very much against the what will people think. But she's more level-headed than I am. She's very present. Possesses a very strong sense of empathy. And I think that's, if you come from a cutthroat world where I come from, you need the yin. She's the sort of the yin to my yang.
Okay. I have to notice the t-shirt, Dad's Only.
Yes. Yes. What about Dad's
How
Only?
many do you have? 5, 6?
Oh, the ones we know about? Oh, Crystal, what are we doing here? No, but we're expecting a baby, eh?
Oh, you are?
End of this month, yeah.
Okay.
In 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
I'm gonna
fantastic.
be new dad.
Okay.
So we're going to have 3 boys now.
So has fatherhood changed the way you see the world? How you view yourself?
I guess. It just sort of made me a little bit more paranoid. A little bit. Just
Even more paranoid
paranoid
now?
Because now you have people who look up to you and people who tell you they miss you, and it's not because they want money from you, they just genuinely miss you, and then pick up the phone and call you and say, how are you? And like my son will pick up the phone and call me for all of 2 minutes. Say, I miss Dad, give me the phone. He'll pick up the phone, They'll call me, how are you? What are you doing? Where are you? Okay. What did you do? I went here, I did this, I did this. Okay, I'm done talking to him. Switch off the phone and go. He has no time for like frivolous conversation or whatever. He just,
But he wants to know how you are.
yes, he wants to call you and just hear your voice, and especially now that we've been separated for a couple of months, so it's I think it's because also my the earlier years were difficult because I was working really, really hard, so I was not very, very present.
Yeah.
Being in Nairobi gave us a lot of stability. So he was sure that every morning he would come and I'd be in bed, like I'd be there. Or it's supper time, I'd be there, checking the homework and doing, and it was sort of part of our regular routine. So he saw me regularly, and I think that was good for him. He sort of balanced it out for us and allowed that to happen. And I think it's going to be quite exciting to have two boys in the house, because there are going to be some serious rules about guys, yeah.
Considering what a terror you were.
I mean, but
See what happens.
I think this is what they call divine justice. Maybe God is punishing
My
me.
mom always used to say to me, it's your turn now. I'm like, okay.
What does that mean? Then you're like, oh, you mean I was like this?
Never.
But of course, the whole flip on the thing is now how the grandparents they're like,
They're like
are you
different
sure?
people.
I'm like, I don't even know these people. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, don't give the kids sweets. My father is just out there stuffing them with chocolate. I took them to town. I bought them KFC and I bought them chocolate bars. Anyway, and here's ice cream. I'm like, my son doesn't take sugar, so he's out there on sugar rush. He's like,
What do you mean your son doesn't take sugar?
He doesn't take
Because
sugar.
you didn't have sugar with your coffee.
Oh, because
so-
I'm diabetic. I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes 2 years ago. Oh, this is the bad life. This is what I'm telling you about. I know 3 guys in the industry who've gotten heart attacks and they're under 30. And I mean like bad heart conditions. So when I was diagnosed with diabetes, a month later I found out I had a cardio arrhythmia, so an irregular heartbeat.
Irregular heartbeat.
Yes. And so the industry will kill us. But that's the price though, And I've always said to guys that it's countries will never stop having armies because people die in armies. But that's the price we pay for the freedoms we enjoy. And I'm not over glorifying the industry, but I'm saying it's a labor of love. You pay the price. Your relationships suffer. Your health suffers. But there's glory in it, and much like the army.
And
so
you can look back and see things that
you can see things that you did, but then at the end of your life, you've lost friends, and then all the awards and all the work means nothing, because the brands go on and long after you're there.
The
So
businesses
you are
continue.
important for that period of time, because you needed to get them out of that space and time. You needed to be the guy who was there to stop the shit from hitting the fan. but yes. So yeah. I mean, you were
So
asking
that
about
means you've made a lot of lifestyle changes.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so when I get diagnosed 2 years ago, I'm 120 kilos, which is very obese. Then I go into this program and nothing works until I start the intermittent fasting. So I do a 16-hour fast every day. I'll have one meal on a regular, and once or twice a week I'll do a full 48-hour fast.
Wow.
So just I'll drink black coffee and water, but that's it, and that's good.
So 14 hours, so that means you only eat in a period of...
So I'll try and eat between 6 and 8 p.m.
Okay.
and then I won't eat again until 2 p.m. the following day, lunchtime. And I
Okay.
can eat between there and another 6 p.m. But most times what happens is you end up eating at 9, and then you can go until 2, 3, have a snack or whatever. So that's sort of how
That's what's worked
yeah.
for
So then
you.
I moved off wheat. Oh, you can't move off wheat because chapatis are so delicious.
It's
So that
hard.
it's a struggle. That's the real. Actually, you know what? That's the real struggle. People talk about life getting off chapatis if you tested them. But I mean, but so go off sugar, go off ice cream.
Mm,
I largely stopped taking milk, and it's helped me because
yeah.
I started walking. I used to swim. When my life gets crazy, I sort of drop that. But I make sure that my eating pattern is regular because what that does is it keeps my weight now. So I'm down to about 90 something, and I need to get down to another 5 or so kilos to bring me in the region of 80,
Yeah.
mid 80s then, and I'll
Yeah.
be fine. I'll be
Okay.
fine. So yeah. So this is we're going back to where I was trying to. Yeah. So when you think about grandparents and like giving the kids sugar, and you're just like, you people never let us have sweets. You're out here. You have my mom has secret stashes of chocolate.
They do.
Just like
All
come,
kinds
come.
of decorations, and
Yes.
you open it
She,
up,
yeah,
and there's sweets in
there's
there.
always it's like come. Like go to the bedroom, like open the secret stash, come back with.
And that's
Mm,
what grandparents was for,
I think so.
really.
Yeah. I hope I am
And
that
that's
kind of grandparent.
that's the special relationship that kids will have with their grandparents before they go
Yes, yes.
as well.
Because and I think that's important. That's necessary
Mm-hmm.
because like my son's eyes light up when it's time to go to see grandma and judge, grandma judge. That's what she calls it.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, so there's grandma and there's grandma judge. So this, and that's like, but they get so excited. They're so full of life, and they know that no one will punish them there. So there's like there's no
Uh-huh.
restrictions. Like, anything you want to do, you want to play ball, you want to do what, the food. Like you're like, I want to eat spaghetti. They'll cook it. At home we're just like, child, we're eating mashed potatoes.
And
Keep
that's
quiet, and
it.
that's what we're eating.
That's what's on the table.
Yes, but I mean they're children, so I figure they'll be all right. They'll land out okay.
Well, Colin, thank you so much for coming to the show.
Thank you.